G'day, superstars. It's Peps, it's J-Dog. It's round 8 of AFL action in the can. And more importantly, the two boys that make your week, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis and Christopher Pepper, are back to talk about the single greatest game in the world, which is Australian rules football. It's lace out and it's how you want your footy. Most importantly, joining your host, which is moi, Christopher Pepper, the 377-game superstar of the East Keilor Football Club. I've got the great man, the Jamie J-Dog Wallis. You know him as the superstar, Jaden Stevenson's dad. Big fella, how about you? And tell me, are you flying Cloud 9 or Cloud Kenny right now?
Probably the hottest commodity in the AFL right now, Peps.
Oh, who would have thought that 4 weeks ago you were, hanging Kenny out to dry, drawn and quartered, and now he's the Prince of Alberton.
It's a soft run, but it's good to see that Melbourne had another soft kill over the weekend.
Yes, we played the 4th place team.
Yeah, we did that.
Did you beat St Kilda?
Yes, by a point. In Cairns, remember? The week before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Soft kill. We made them easy for you. We just butter them up.
Listen, when you play in Melbourne, it's mass murder. That's what it's like at the moment. We just take anybody on. I'll tell you what, we have got
how was Mother's Day, Peps?
Mother's Day, it was good. It was a good day, great day. Relzy, Dana, Kath, all the mums and mother-in-laws and wives, we had a fantastic day. Just they deserve everything that they got.
What did you do? Did you do the trips around Melbourne, or did you just go, we're here, come if you want to come?
No, Saturday night, mother-in-law over for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning, brunch with my mum and sister-in-law and my wife. Yeah. And then out to the movies with the lovely one and the Tin Lids to go see Doctor Strange. It was a fantastic film. I would have given it probably 3.5 to 4 stars. Just really good, enjoyable watch.
Out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 5. Come on, mate. We don't want to give it too
You rate it that high?
I enjoyed it. It was something different, bit of brutality in it, just like the AFL was on the weekend. But what about yours, Alira? Tell us about your Mother's Day. And everybody, I hope you had a great Mother's Day as well out there.
It was very good. We did a high tea on the Sunday afternoon. So filled our faces down at the Novotel along the foreshore down here in Detroit, in G-Town. Free champagne. I'm going to get onto that action every time.
Oh, champagne showers everywhere. And I'll tell you what, my friend, there is champagne showers. Everybody who's listening to us tonight and watching us live on the Facebook channel, because we got everything that you want to talk about for a massive round 8. Let's just say there were blowouts, there were blowovers, and in your case, Jamie, a comb over. That is just how much went on with the footy this weekend. So we've got them all. We're spinning magnets. We've got the ladder, listener questions, the newsman of the week. Jamie will go through some of the massive topics. Some weeks we come into this show and we're like, what are we going to talk about? This week, it's happening on and off the field. So we're going to get straight into it. Balls deep we're going in with this one. Let's have a look at the ladder first.
Be careful with your words, Peps, this week.
Why is that?
Just saying balls deep. That's a very controversial thing to be saying around our guest news person.
Only if you're at Collingwood. All right, let's have a look at the ladder, everybody. And funny enough, the D's are 8-0, 15 wins in a row, 32 points. It's us versus everybody else. That's literally what it's coming down to. Fremantle and Brisbane, 1 game behind us, and then another one behind that is Carlton. So at the moment, top 4 is clear. Daylight of 1 game between 5th, 6th and 7th of Geelong, Sydney and St Kilda. Richmond, though, have slid into 8th, 1 spot higher than 9th, where they should be, only by a percentage. Just swooping into 9th is Collingwood, also on 16. Western Bulldogs at 12, and there's a conglomerate. Port, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, don't get me started. Adelaide Crows, all on 12. GWS, Essendon, North and Wet Toast Eagles, giving the Melbourne 2012 team a run for their money. That's how bad we're going. Down there at Wet Toast. All right. It's funny enough. It's North and Wet Toast are in all sorts at the moment. It's really disappointing.
Just on a rating of 1 to 5, since we're rating things 1 to 5 today, Peps, how confident are you still on your top 8 prediction from 3 rounds ago?
Which one was that? That Richmond won't make finals.
No. You said that the top 8 is essentially locked, done, game over.
Yeah.
Are you still feeling confident?
Of course.
Moved a little bit since then.
Richmond have gone up a couple of spots on the ladder, have they, JB?
Well, look at the great big sound from the Gold Coast town.
Oh,
they could make it, Peps.
Hey, I tell you what, Tommy Roker, he's Chubbs Farquharing right now. I tell you, he picked it in his season preview that they were going to make finals, and
we've got Port on a tearaway at the moment.
Port on a tearaway. Are you kidding me, J Dog?
Well, I'm just saying. Saints are looking
like
St Kilda
never played for weeks, and now it is. It's actually a pretty good song. How you feeling, mate? With Port just 3 in a row.
It's a nice. When your team wins, Peps, it's a nice feeling. It's not. I'm not going to lie. It's a nice feeling to, especially on a Friday night. You got the whole weekend to enjoy it.
You never get sick of winning, especially when you got sick of losing for many, many, many years. Let's be honest.
Yep. So Peps is a nice feeling, but Peps, anything in here that stood out to you? I mean, the games on the week sort of. I was watching it going. There's some upsets going on in here, and like the Essendon Hawthorn game.
Mate, I tell you what. When we get into the votes and the dragging a little bit later on, some of the games on the weekend were just if you're just a football follower, the Gold Coast game, the Essendon game. Look, we've given Essendon that much shit this year, and by right, they've deserved it. But what they did on the weekend was nothing short of the Miracle on Grass Part 2, or as
strong
they would say,
finish.
Hot Shots Part 2, because it was just, and we'll get into that. Gold Coast had no right to go and win that game in Sydney.
Yep. Tommy Roker does call it, though. He does call it the GSC. It is the Gold Coast Stadium. They've won 11 or something there now.
They love it down there at Sydney. But then there was just some shockers as well, too, like Hawthorn. What was going on there? Sydney, I don't know what they stand for at the moment. But look, I think the good teams win, and Melbourne do it every week at the moment. And the average teams lose when they shouldn't lose.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. Hey, do you know who's joined us on the chat? Jules Julio. I know this guy. He is a massive Hawthorn fan, and he wouldn't be too happy with what was served up last week. It was putrid, absolutely putrid. But we'll get into that. But we'll have a chat about the ladder because it's really getting a bit crazy. Also down the bottom, we need to have a chat about North, and we need to have a chat about West Coast. So normally we would go into the magnets, and maybe we'd also go into the dragging and the votes. But I think we're going to do this week because I actually want to get around the grounds. I want to get straight to the news because there's probably 3 big, massive stories that have come out of the weekend, and we've got to get into it. And this is something that we all really need to talk about because one of them, I don't know what the end game is. Another one, there is just they are shocking. And the other one has just come completely out of the blue. And I'm going to hand this one over to you. So he's our newsbreaker. He's our heartbreaker. He's Captain Comb Over. It's Jamie the J-Dog Wallis. Over to you, big fella, with Around the Grounds because you've got the news of the week.
Well, I mean, thank you, Peps. Let's just start with probably the most not perplexing, don't understand why it's a news story these days, but David Noble and the whole North Melbourne scenario. Apparently yelling at your players, apparently yelling at your players, Peps, you can't do anymore. And it's really bad if you do, and then if you do it, you upset players. Tell me when can't an AFL player absolutely hit his players between the eyes? Because apparently the new generation, Peps, the generation younger than you and I, don't like it. It's a bit sensitive to a bit of face-to-face, down-the-barrel sort of feedback. What's happened, Peps?
Well,
Shin boners. I thought that'd be tough.
Not the shin boners now.
Jesus.
More like the salmon boners or
He
whatever.
copped it after he copped it after a 108-point demolition by Brisbane Lions. I would be walking into that shed expecting to be berated, probably.
So, J-Dog, I know there's people on the chat listening, chat right now, people watching this right now, people who are listening to this now, who have played football or been in the rooms over many, many years. Like I said, you don't play 377 games of good football.
Quality.
Never. Quality. Lace out football. That's why we named the podcast Lace Out, because that's how I played my football. I can tell you now, I've been in some mega sprays over the years. Can I just give you a couple of examples of them?
Love it.
I remember walking off a game with a smile on my face at halftime. Coach looked at me and said, Pepper, you ever walk into the rooms again with a smile on your face, you'll never play at 2:00 again. That was one. I had the same coach spray the group that hard that he threw a water bottle against a wall. But at the same time, someone was walking out of the toilet and it missed him by about half a foot and almost, if it connected, he would have knocked him out. I've had another coach punch the whiteboard that hard due to his anger. He broke his hand.
Far out.
A spray needs to be given once in a while. Now, the only thing that I'm thinking is because North are pretty bad at the moment. They're feeling bad. The kids are feeling bad. They think that no matter what we do, it's just not working. And then to cop it between the eyes, it might have been a bit overwhelming from that perspective. But it could also be the coach just being so frustrated that either the message isn't getting through, whether what they've been practicing. And also, you got to remember, North finished the year off in an okay stance. They played pretty good football towards the end of last year. And a lot of us were thinking that they were going to take a step up the ladder. I thought they would have been above Hawthorn. I thought they would have been above Adelaide, just on what they showed towards the end of last year. It's not working. Now, who do you blame that on? I think it's you can't look at it from the club perspective because the club have got new president, new chairman, that sort of stuff in at the moment. So that's you got, like I say, you got to get the off-field and the on-field right before, and that's got to be stable for the on-field will.
Yeah.
But it's got to affect a lot of people. It has to affect people at the club. And you got to remember, they've got a lot of young kids, but also that the guys who have played 80 to maybe 120 games, they probably haven't stood up as much as they would. You know, your Taron Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron Hall. Zeeble keeps putting his bits in. Without Goldstein, it makes it a bit tough. You got young forwards, you got young backs, Mackay wasn't there. It's just, I think that they're so young. They remind me a lot of Melbourne when Mark Neild came in and pretty much just got rid of all the senior players out of the club.
Yeah.
All right. And that put us back immensely. Scott stuffed them when he got rid of all the guns. Del Santo, Ferrito,
Harvey,
all at the same time.
Yeah.
Harvey could have gone another year or two easily. Del Santo could have gone.
Harvey dominated the Heidelberg League. Like, he's dominated that.
Yeah. They need to have that stability around them, and they haven't.
Yeah.
And so if no one's driving standards from a playing perspective, I would say Zeeble is, and Goldstein would be, but they also lost, who went to Richmond? Robbie Tarrant went. It's one of the elder statements. I don't think the rudders, there's not much of a rudder there at the moment. A stable hand. And so Noble had the frustration, but yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I know you cop a spray between the eyes. It happens. That's life. You can't have all your one-way, kids. And when things don't go well, want constructive feedback. Sometimes you need to cop between the eyes and say, this is bullshit. What you're doing is not good enough. Now, they say that time's over, but I don't know. What do you reckon, J-Dog? How would you have reacted? You know, you're one of the younger generation. You're one of the Pepsi, the voice of a new generation.
Well, look, I'm probably a bit of an old school person at heart, Peps. Like, I'll put it into the only context I can put it to. You and I, we do a job where we do this a lot. Spend a lot of time on camera, spend a lot of time talking to people. You know when you've had a shocker, and if it's that bad, you're probably going to cop a word from the boss about something, or a stakeholder, or something. What I don't understand why they are so shocked going into this in an AFL environment. Like your big boys. Your big
Don't
boys
they-
on big pay.
They spend that much time in feedback. What do you expect? Brad Pitt said it best in the movie Moneyball. Would you prefer one to the head, one between the eyes, or 3 to the chest and bleed out?
Yeah.
Just one between the eyes, mate. Bang. That's it.
Yeah. And he's come out. David Nobble's come out. He apologised to the players and all that. Which
But
I guess.
Why do you have to apologise for? See, this is the thing. I've given you a spray, and now I'm apologising for it. I probably wouldn't have apologised.
Yeah.
If it was deserved, certainly.
Yeah. Look, I don't know what was said. Maybe he said some things that are out of the line. We've all been there before. We've all said things we shouldn't have said in the moment of anger. But
all the time.
But Peps.
You know when people say stupid things and you look back and go, oh my goodness. Like, Mel Meetings on the chat saying, Carlton, yeah, top 4, yeah, baby. If you don't get your defence fixed up pretty quickly, Mel, you're not going to be even finishing top 8. I'm telling you now.
All right, Peps. So let's roll into a couple of things about North Melbourne whilst we're here.
Yep.
So on Saturday, I was listening to one of the radio stations. I don't know, SEN, Triple M, I don't know what it was. Anyway, they're talking about at North Melbourne. They're saying about there's question marks over their leaders of the club. We're talking coach, presidents probably too, because I think the CEO's only been there for a year now. But there are questions being asked at North Melbourne, and the ever-consuming thing and the question about David Noble at the moment, and there's probably 4 or 5 coaches out there. You've got Alistair Clark waiting in the wings. Is that putting pressure on it? And this is probably adding fuel to this flame about David Noble and the coaching situation.
Oh, no, Jamie. No, I'm sick of it.
There's a lot coming.
I'm sick of this. This is the thing that happens. This is how stupid the media is out there, okay? So, anytime a club has a bad week. So far this year, Alistair Clarkson is apparently going to GWS, Gold Coast, and now North Melbourne.
Yep.
He's not the saviour. He had a good list at a good time. Perfect. Okay? It's not all his fault. They played good football at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So what's turned around? And we're getting things on the chat right now saying, Andy Bridge is asking us, is David Noble really a decent coach though? He's more of a football manager, not a coach. Well, I'll tell you now, a lot of clubs now, if you speak, the coach is more of a football manager. A lot of the assistants do the day in, day out work with the groups.
Yeah.
The coach has the overall arching message. He's more of a player relationship manager. Match day, the guys in the box are doing most of it, giving him the feedback.
He's asking questions. That's all he's doing, asking questions.
He's asking questions. So I think it's like this, Jamie. When kids come to AFL, if you can get drafted, you can play footy. Don't care what anyone says. What happens is that the process or the system screws the good ones up. I think it's you don't get elected or get the position of an AFL coach if you're a dud.
Yeah.
You can't. With the checks that they go through, the auditions and the interview process, psychological testing, everything, you can't mess it up. So there's other factors involved, unless you're Mark Neal.
True. And also North Melbourne at the time had gone through Brad Scott, and then Reece Shaw retired with mental health stuff. So the eyes were on North Melbourne to make the appointment right. So they would have had everyone and anyone who has been through a coaching hiring process sitting on those panels and listening to presentations.
And Paul Roos was there last year, remember, as a support mechanism?
Mm-hmm.
Not there this year. Is there something in that? I don't know. Is he a good salesman? Geez, Andy's
probably. No, they probably are. All coaches are.
No, but they are good salesmen to the staff. But you can smell the bullshit a mile away. Like, you can't get sold a dud. There's too many factors when you go through the interview process to get caught up on. You've got to go through processes. You've got to go through tactics. You've got to go through list management. You've got to go through game plan styles, everything. You can't clean the board out. They just got cleaned out, Jules. There's a new chairwoman or chairperson in charge of the club. They've only been doing it for a couple of weeks. So they've started at the top. They've got to get that stability right. I actually think this is more overkill. I think there's two bigger issues going on than this. This will blow over in a couple of weeks. The next game that they win, they'll be all smiles and back to, cherries and roses.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Peps, let's roll this into the other situation they've got going on, which they've just having to face now. Their number one pick from last year, Jason Horne-Francis, has put off extending his contract and walked away from the negotiation table. This week it's been revealed.
Are you telling me we're starting this a little bit early, J-Dog?
Here comes the money.
Here comes the money. Ring, ring, bling, bling, chicken wing, woo! Ching, ding. All right, give us some contract news with the horny man himself.
Oh, look, that was just the one there. Apparently, he's very close to signing an extension at the start of the season, and I think the way that the whole thing has gone down in the last, what are we now? Week 7, week 8? He's like, maybe I won't extend my 2 years.
That's where it's wrong.
What's wrong about it? Why don't you like that?
I don't think that's right. So North put all their chips into this young kid for 2 years. That's all they get him for. He can decide to leave.
Yep.
That's not right. Clubs should be able to have. I reckon if you're in the first round of the draft, you have to sign for a minimum of 3 years.
Okay.
That's the way it should be.
Top 10?
First round.
Just first round.
Just first round.
So up to 20, pick 18, whatever. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Or just first round. If you pick up a first rounder, that's it.
3 years.
3 years. It should be. Because it stops this sort of stuff. And then you get nuffies like Buzz. Good to see him on the chat again, Buzz. It's been a while. St Kilda must have. Oh, no, they didn't. Saying that he's going to St Kilda. Buzz, you've got no salary cap space. Your club's actually got no money. You wouldn't be able to afford him. And why would he go there to play with an aging list? So
I reckon, Peps. I reckon this is a bit of a thing for the bit of tactic. I reckon they're waiting on what the new TV rights deal will be, and I reckon they're just trying to angle some more money that way.
Nah, they'll just go by a percentage, whatever it goes up by. You'll probably win their best and fairest this year. That's the way. That's how bad either North are going or how well he's going.
All right. If you were a North Melbourne supporter, would you be worried hearing this contract news?
Yeah. I would be worried because if a kid thinks at this time, you'd think that if someone offered you a contract, and obviously it must be what is on offer. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's thinking, okay, I want to see what they're going to show us when it comes to the bargaining agreement later on. But if you know that you want to be part of the furniture, you're going to put pen to paper. You're going to say, look, I'm going to put pen to paper. Give me a number. We'll go from there.
It's rare that a young kid doesn't sign a small extension within their first year. That's very rare. What we know from the last sort of 10 years.
Yeah, but it comes down to the environment that you're in. If he's not happy at the environment, that might be what it is. I don't know. But it wouldn't be alarm bells, but you'd want to hear the reason why. Because there's also another one who's also decided not to stay anymore, or who's not signing his contract for next year. Ash McGrath. Andy McGrath, not Ash McGrath. Miracle on Grass, one. Andy McGrath. See, he's another one. He's looking at this and going, this place is a shit show. We've had one good win, and mind you, it was a belter of a win. He's got his questions.
According to Buzz now, they're probably going to sign up Eddie McGrath. They're going to get Jason Horne-Francis and apparently Rory Lobb, which apparently is a strong link.
Oh, that's a strong link. Oh, go Saints. Go Saints. Bring in another old used body because you haven't done that many times over the years. And you saw what happened on the weekend when you try and buy a flag and not build a flag like the D's have done.
Peps, it's okay. You don't have to hate St Kilda. You can just relax.
Oh, no, they've been playing good football, but they've got to realise they're playing with the big boys now. It's very rare for St Kilda to be at the top of the final 8. Not too sure about that. And so, exactly right. I just think there's something behind it for both teams. I would be more worried if I was Essendon.
For the McGrath situation? Or who? About what?
on the graph. Do you reckon Essendon are worried about Horn Francis?
Well, apparently not a smile at training peps.
Pardon?
We missed that last week because that show was too early. But just
That's
the media rubbish. You can't smile when you're at
There
work.
was just that many nuffies. Like, you have to smile. Well, imagine if we weren't able to smile at work, at anyone's work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to enjoy your work. I'm sorry. I don't care what Nick Del Brownlow says. No, you're allowed to smile at work. And yes, you're allowed to work hard, but you're allowed to, take it off between and then go back in. Just another beat up. The media have got nothing better to report on because, if it bleeds, it leads. I've said it for years, and this is just another example of absolute crap going on.
Well, it has been a slow news year so far.
Oh, yeah, and it all happened this week. It's all happened this week.
All right, let's get into it.
HF is going to Port. Andy Bridge saying he's not worried about anything at the moment. Maybe. Might just want to come to the D's because everybody does. Rightio. Can I mention something that happened overnight? And I'm really confused by all of it.
Please do, Peps.
Heredier Lumumba and more allegations about the Collingwood Football Club. Okay, now it was on the front page of the Herald Sun. I just don't know what his end game is with this. Apparently, and I'm only going by what I've read, so I don't know the full insight, but this is what we do. We just have a look from the overarching. Apparently, there was porno images or a porno image used during a team meeting once to describe a tactic, which was shocking. Apparently, inappropriate language by the now Demons CEO Gary Pert, and other bits and pieces as well. You didn't want to be part of the good for the game, good for football,
whatever it was, whatever. Yes, the report.
I just don't know what he wants. I just don't understand. I'm going to give him credit for taking a stand and saying, you know what, yes, this has happened. This has occurred at the Collingwood Football Club. We know all the stuff about Eddie. We know all the stuff with Bucks. There were strained relationships, etc. But why now? I don't know. What is he trying to get? What is he trying to get out of it? Is he just trying to take another swing at the club? Is he trying to put what's happened at the club? Just trying to put the club in. Buzz, you're killing me. There's no porno floating around East Keilor Football Club. That's made the light of day. I just don't know what he wants, Jamie. Can you help me with this? Have you got your insight to it? So I'm confused.
Look, so this is all sort of stemming to the Collingwood situation with the Do Better report, whereas investigation into the racism at the club, with Indigenous players and current staff, and it was a bit of Buckley in there, a bit of Eddie in there, and other players and assistants that have gone through there. So that Do Better report, obviously we saw a couple of casualties from it. We saw Eddie Maguire with his choice of words and getting moved on. We saw CEO leave. We saw a few things come out of that one there. Peps, I'm probably with you. I just people have to believe, and I'll always give people that benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, you've got to come with evidence of something. Like, it's too easy to have a swing at someone, drag someone's name through the mud, and then when pushed for evidence or pushed for examples or pushed for anything, there's nothing there. And that's what kind of does me in a little bit. Because he released a snippet of the conversation he had with Nathan Buckley about the alleged photo incident. And he's only released a part of it. And Buckley said, release the whole thing. Don't release 4 seconds of a conversation. Release the whole conversation. And then I think to myself, why is he recording the conversation, a private conversation that you've gone to the coach with to discuss it? Now, why are you recording it? I don't get that, and I don't understand. And look, I'm happy to be educated. I could be wrong on this. I get it. But you stayed at the club for so many years after, and you took the awards, and all those sorts of things came with it. And now, 10 years later, the club has tried to reach out. They've tried to apologise. I know Buckley, Eddie, they've all tried to apologise. Last year, you took the AFL to court and Collingwood about workplace situation to the court cases. You provided no evidence, and the case has now been basically thrown out, like it's sitting in dormant. Like, at what point do you? I don't know.
Move on.
I understand. Shit happens, and it can be hard to move on. But at the same time, you've also got to be the change. Don't just throw mud, but actually work with the people, talk to them, have a conversation. It sounds like they're open to that, but
it takes two to tango.
Yeah,
that's why the saying takes. It takes two to tango, because it seems to be that he'll want to lead when he wants to be on the front foot, but then when somebody else wants to lead, oh no, I just want to be sitting here on the sidelines and watching everybody else dance. And then when everybody else has moved on to the next song, he wants to come out again, or everybody else has left the dance floor. Like I said, I haven't been educated in the whole thing, but I'm just looking from an outsider's perspective, and I just don't know what does he want to achieve out of all of this. Do you remember, I was thinking about it when you mentioned about the snippet. It was like Iron Man 2 when Tony Stark is getting interviewed by the Senate committee, and Rhodey comes down for the first time, and he had to read something out of his report. And he goes, no, page 680, exactly. And he goes, but just those two lines? He goes, no, but he's reading it out of context. He goes, no, just those two lines. And he reads it, and it makes it put Tony Stark into a bad light, Iron Man into a bad light. But when you look at the whole thing, it's actually showing that, you know what, if we use it properly, he could be a danger, but we should actually work with him. But they've taken this part and not shown the whole thing. Another perfect example of things taken out of context. How much stuff gets taken out of context?
Yeah.
It's a hard one, man. It is a hard one. I respect the guy for trying for making a stance on it. It takes balls to do it. And I'm not saying when is enough, but aren't there bigger things in life than this?
Yeah.
Especially,
and it has come out in...
Everybody wouldn't be handing back the money or the premiership medals or anything that came out of it. And if football was such a bad place, why'd he go to Melbourne?
Yeah. I mean, he said that Andrew Krakauer and that have also decided to no longer work and engage with Collingwood Football Club out of the Do Better report, because apparently he was going to provide the Collingwood Football Club with a dossier. Once again, I can't remember exactly if that was provided to the Collingwood Football Club, or they said no, or he didn't do it.
I think it was the Penske file.
So yeah, I don't know where I stand with it. If the part that is interesting, Peps, is no one from the Collingwood Football Club has said that it didn't happen, this photo incident in a team meeting.
No doubt. Like I said, I was talking about like strange things have happened at footy clubs. I remember we were talking about sprays before.
Yeah.
I had one game. We walked in at halftime. The coach said, all the players into the trainer's room now. So we walked into the trainer's room, and we're expecting to cop the biggest spray. We're down by about 10 goals at halftime. We're playing top of the table, playing Keeler. We hate Keeler. Coach pulled out a slab. So there you go, boys. Let's just relax. So I'm looking at me mates, looking, what the hell's going on here? And I couldn't drink it. I can't drink BB cans for the sake of it anyway. Well, two of your teammates have decided to knock back 2 cans at halftime. Shit happens at football clubs, all right? But times have changed. That's it. Yeah. Hey, there's only one club that we know that set midgets on fire at Mad Mondays. St Kilda.
Yeah. Or Fev with the dildos at the Carlton Markup Day. But look, it's just, I think the cynic in probably, I'm going to put a number, I could be wrong, 90% of the football people are going, here he is again, this time of the year, let's have another story from him. And it just, it undervalues probably what he has to say, because people are sort of like, here we go, another Horatio story here.
Yep. It does. Shit happens at football clubs. Talk about it. You don't have to like everybody. It's going to happen. All right. Hopefully they can get over it, because I'm sick of hearing about it. But it was good to take a break from the election coverage. for a day.
What's a woman, Pets?
Oh shit!
Deborah Knight. Holy moly!
I reckon Ford Fairlane, the magnificent movie quote of it feels like I feel like masturbating with a cheese grater.
Oh,
It's slightly painful, but mostly amusing.
if
That's
this is
coverage.
if this is where journalism is at these days, where we're just trying to like,
How are we, the two of us, not prime time? The quality of our show with all the stuff that gets thrown out. Oh, I don't know.
All right, let's talk about something funny, Peps.
Let's take
S Club 7.
Don't stop moving to the East Coast, West Coast beat.
I'm going to sound like a real dickhead here, Peps.
Yeah.
But we know West Coast decided to get a little boogie on a couple of weeks ago. I don't know those players, Peps. I'm just going to say them. I don't even know them. Jackson Nielsen, Josh Rotham, Jake Waterman, Patrick Naish, I know, Hugh Dixon, I know, Campbell Chaser, don't know, and Brett Bazzo.
Rhett Bazzo, you knob.
Sorry, Rhett Bazzo.
Still can't get it. Brett Bazzo.
Rhett.
Brett Bazzo, he's like the forgery.
Sorry.
He's not as good as the original, but he's close.
So they all went, had a bit of a dance at a packed nightclub in Perth. Boom, all of a sudden, bang, bang, bang. They're all close contact / COVID. Got this, got that. Couldn't have happened at a worse time for West Coast when they only had 22 listed players to play against Brisbane on the weekend. I think one or two of them came back into the team. I don't know. It was all a mess over the weekend.
Mate, these players they're trying not to even make the 22. They're trying to just not get a play at all. That's how bad West Coast are going. Like, oh, shit, we're down to 22. It's us. Let's go boogieing.
West Coast couldn't even suspend these players with internal club suspensions because they've got no one to pick from. So they've also given them a $5,000 fine, which has been suspended. The AFL players unions have come out and said that they can't actually do that, but whatever. They literally can't even really sanction these players because they've got no one on their list.
Stuff them.
I agree.
They could have fined another 7. They've already got.
Agree.
Waffle. They would have picked up another 7 Waffle players. If you went to the Waffle and said, "Boys, who wants to strap on number 64 for the West Coast Eagles this week?" There would have been 7 people to put their hands up.
I agree.
Should they have been given a bye?
I'm a no.
No.
Because hang on, you go first, and then I'll go.
All right, you go first. No, you go first.
All right, I'll go first. All right.
I'll go.
The reason why is no. I know Kane Corn suggested on Friday that they should have been given a bye, or Joe Waitley, or one of those players on SCN, one of those guys on SCN. Anyway, and they're saying it's unfair, the competition. It's unfair this because some teams are being restricted by the state-run legislation around the COVID stuff. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. Just back up a little bit.
Back the track.
Like 2 years ago, every Victorian and New South Wales club had to go live away from their wives, partners, and families in Queensland because of the state legislation that we couldn't do crowds.
And I could be wrong, Jamie, but didn't we do it again last year?
Again. We did because Victoria had a rule around no crowds.
Here, no crowds. Robbo, no crowds.
So, unfortunately, yes, WA has very strict restrictions. We know that. They know that. The players took it on themselves to go and have a bit of a dance.
The club said, don't go. Whatever you do, don't boogie. If you're going to do it, put the tandy on at home and boogie to that.
You get the tandy out.
But look, players are dumb. And then players are dumb. If you're going to go ahead and do that, you're dumb, right? I'm going to say it, you're dumb, right? You're dumb. Another reason why, but it wasn't our fault. Yes, it was. Be responsible, be accountable. They're 2 words that you may not know much about the young generation. Be accountable and be responsible. But then for the AFL players, what do they call the AFL Players Society? What are they called?
What do you call it? AFL Players Association.
Players Association, Players Society. Sounds like a banking call. To come out and actually say, no, these guys have been through a lot over the last couple of years, and they should be allowed to go out and have a couple of beers and enjoy a good time because they've been locked down and so forth. This is what Matthew Pavlich was saying. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, you know what? You've got a point there. But when your team's only got 22 fit players, 22, not fit, but available players.
Yeah, just available.
Maybe use the thing that's inside your skull called your brain and think a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, excuses. And it just shits me when I hear things like this. It's the player's responsibility. And if I was the club, if I was the coach, I'd be like, I do remember though, one day, late 90s, early 2000s, we actually had a Bucks night before the first game of the season.
Ooh,
We all went.
of course.
And we won the next day, I think.
Oh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
we were responsible. We limited ourselves to 6 lap dances each. All right. But we were responsible. Okay. That's just stupid. COVID wasn't around then. But that was that, yeah. You can't do that. I'm sorry. You just can't do that, players. Think. Don't do, think.
I agree. I agree. So,
Go for
in
it.
fact, look, West Coast result over the weekend was almost a win. The fact that they kept that under 3 digits is amazing.
That was a percentage booster. It was a percentage booster. And I really want to talk about some of the games now because I really want to get into spinning some magnets. Would you mind? Do you want to go?
Sure.
You want to go a bit of magnet section? Let's go, big. Let's start with the good stuff too. By the way,
3 votes.
what did you say, Andy?
3 votes.
Oh, I want to give you some 3 votes. Rightio. Guess what, J Dog? Bags,
Yes.
bags. They're getting lots of kicks. Bags. The players are kicking them. It was baggylicious. If Beyonce was here, it would be baggylicious because there were bags kicked left, right, and center. You got Tommy Lynch. I still think he's a dud. Kicked 7 on the weekend. Charlie Curnow, 6. 2 meter Peter, 6 straight J-Dog. The power forwards are kicking bags. Is there anything better? Is there anything better than bags? Bags.
It almost. How much did Jeremy Cameron kick? 5? 4?
5. It's a handful. It's a cluster.
Peps, there's only one explanation as to why we're getting bags.
Don't
and
you
it's the
dare say it.
It's the devil's number. 666.
It's not 666. It's faster ball movement.
It's
because-
666.
Essendon played faster ball movement, got it down to 2 meter Peter. Carlton are playing faster ball mover. It's got no one 666. You just get the ball down to the forwards faster.
6.
It's better.
6.
And Tommy Lynch, well, he's just doing his thing at the moment. So that was awesome.
6.
Hey,
6.
can I
6.
just say, J-Dog, shut up.
Yes.
All right? Listen, I want to bring up something as well too. I watched the footy on the weekend and
Right in front of me. Right in front of me.
right in front of me were 2 of the best wins I have seen. One of them was absolute ball buster to the point of thing even in tipped out, I said, minimum 5 goals, don't even worry about watching it, to, I got to tune in for this.
Mhm.
And the other mob, who I've got so much love for, and I just want to see them succeed, and they went down to Sydney, the Gold Coast Suns, playing a top 8 team, Sydney, who have been taking everybody before them at the moment.
Yeah.
And they didn't just beat them. If you ever watch the way that they played, Isaac Rankin, I don't know what you've been doing for the first half of the season, but that was your best game by a mile. He was up the ground further. He was bringing the ball down. Levi Casbolt, he was going up to Gold Coast as a filler. He has not just stood in for Ben King. He has made that spot his own. Chol has just been brilliant. Witsy just keeps doing it too. Ainsworth was like, I'm loving it. Sam Collins basically held Franklin to nothing. They were just too fast and funny enough, too skilled. And it was just great to see them get the win. And they didn't just scrape through. They did it convincingly by the end, the way that
Absolutely.
they played. It was absolutely. And you know what? Andy Bridge is saying that he usually can't kick. You go and have a look at Levi Casbolt's kicking over the last couple of years. It's been so much better. He's been working on it. He's actually turned into a bit of a dead-eye dick. But then I want to go and have a look at the Essendon game. Now, if you could tell me before the game, Essendon have been tripe. All right. And if you're an Essendon supporter and come out and say, no, you haven't, you're lying to yourself. All right. Just admit your team's been bad based on what you thought that they were going to do this year. Okay. They lose 5 players before they walk out. So they've just picked up 5 off the street. Hey, you, come in and play. We're that bad. We need you.
Yeah.
And go out and basically do nothing for 3 quarters, because that's what they did. They did nothing for 3 quarters. And then go ahead and do what they did in the last. They kicked 8 in the last quarter, Jamie. 8 goals.
It was a good comeback.
They put McGrath onto a wing. Electric. Hobbsy. I love a bit of Hobbsy action. I watched him play a little bit. You got one there. Nick Martin, steal of the season. Yeah, he's not too bad.
Dylan Shield was
at the start. Dylan Shield. Oh, he's got a body like Tarzan and is playing like Jane. You could throw in Devin Smith with him as well too. But they came back. And 2 meter Peter, my goodness.
What a forward.
You kick it to a guy who's 2 meters in height. You get it to him quickly. He's going to kick goals. He did it against Melbourne. He did it against Hawthorn. Hawthorn got within 10 points of the D's. So I don't know whether they were out-coached, outworked, it's an attitude factor, or just Hawthorn is scared of Essendon. That's what I'm saying. Hawthorn is scared of Essendon. All right?
He's like the opposite of Mason Cox.
What, you mean he has skill and no glasses?
Correct. No glasses, skill, and is probably what Collingwood were hoping what Mason would be. It's only taken Peter Wright 8 years to do it.
And he's a redhead too. So he's got that against him as well. And he's just dominating football. He looks confident. He looks happy. He wants to be at the club. Great win. But that's happened. So enjoy it for what it is. They would have been going into the review on Monday, both these clubs going, how good was that? But they've got this week. And 1 week doesn't make a season. It's what they do this week is what's going to be the big difference. That's the thing that I'm looking out for. Are they going to be able to back it up, or are they going to be a one-hit wonder? Because really the only way is up.
If I see Essendon smiling this week at training, I'll spew up.
I'll spew up, J-Dog. Spew up. All righty. The other thing I have to quickly mention also is the D's, the Lions, and Freo, they just keep rolling. They're doing what they have to do. They're beating the teams that they have to beat. St Kilda was going to apparently be the biggest challenge for Melbourne this year. We worked that out by halftime that was going to be over. Lions, okay, they can only play who they're playing against, and they did their thing. And Freo just keep ticking along as per normal. So those top 3 at the moment are playing sensational footy, and they're clearly, I would say, the best 3 teams in it right now.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, J-Dog, about any of that?
No, I think that's other than maybe. I think that's probably going to be top 5. They'll all finish top 5.
Oh, well, considering they're pretty much
well out.
Third.
But Peps, you made the big call 3 weeks ago that the top 8 was locked.
Yeah,
It's still not.
it still could be.
No.
Can Essendon make the finals?
Essendon.
Question. Essendon make the finals?
Nah.
Shit, they can't even get players on the ground, mate. They're still got to get fit players. Can they make the finals?
Hey, never say never. Peps?
Controversial statement I'm going to make right now. I hope they don't. I think they need to realise that maybe they snuck through last year, and I don't think they'll make it. And it's probably a better thing, so they don't rest on their laurels again. Because I think they've rested on their laurels.
What are they? They've won 1-1, lost 3 in a row, won another one, play Sydney this week. Maybe.
Yeah, look, Andy's saying that they were in this position last year. Yeah, but you were playing better football last year. You're not playing great footy this year. Got to look at it from that perspective. Nah, I don't think you can do what you did on the weekend 2 weeks in a row. And if you do, good. Fantastic. But you got to go with, You don't just look at one book. An encyclopedia is a full set, and you've got to look at what you've got on the shelf at the moment. At the moment, there's too much of what happened last week, and then look, Andy, you can keep coming at me and giving me reasons to believe, but at the moment, I'm not seeing it. Okay, I love the faith that you have in your mob, but at the moment, it's just not consistent enough. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, see what happens
All right.
as well.
We need to pick up the pace. Peps is
All right, let's go.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weak as piss.
Rightio, Hawthorn and Sydney. We'll flip the script right now. What the hell were you doing on the weekend? Hawthorn, you almost had a bye. The only other bye you could have is if you're playing West Coast. So you had almost the second West Coast with no Essendon. Essendon lost 5 players before the ball was bounced, what I'm trying to say. And you screwed up. How could you allow, and Sam Mitchell, who is apparently the coaching messiah, how could he allow 8 goals in the last quarter from a team that struggled to kick 8 goals for the game? That was, And for Sydney, did that open up some cracks? Are Sydney as good as they are? Does Sydney, are they no good on a smaller ground anymore? Are they more of a running team than a contested team now? Parker's getting older. Kennedy's getting older.
True. I just think
they're losing at the moment. If you look over the last couple of years, they're losing more games there than they are winning, which is unbloods like.
Buddy's back now, full time in the team.
Okay.
It was a one-off.
Okay. You reckon? All right, maybe. Look, I've been raked over the coals about Pickett on the Doggies. They did play in a grand final last year, so that's what I'm basing my season on. But mate, their injury troubles are just getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Worse. They've got no Josh Bruce, so you think, okay, Cody Waitman, the goal kicker, he's gone and smacked his collarbone. He's out for a couple as well.
Yep.
Then you've
also
Keith,
Bont, Pally, Bruce.
Just
keep going on.
They're running out of players. They've got a midfield, and that's it.
Somewhat of a midfield, yeah.
Oh, they've got a midfield. They just can't do anything else. And they were no good against your mob last week either. Like I said, if you take the top 5 players out of any team, they're going to be, some teams can handle it and cover it. Some teams can't. Bulldogs can't cover it down forward, can't cover it down back at the moment, and they're just getting exposed.
Yeah, definitely in the back. At the back, they're playing probably 1 or 2 genuine 190-plus defenders short, and they got exposed over the weekend. And Port aren't a great team. I'm not going to say that we're the best team in the AFL. We're definitely not, and they got exposed big time.
No, they made you look good.
They did.
Make it look good. Yeah, exactly right. Now you brought this one up. Normally, there's nothing. Double headers. Talk about double headers, mate, because obviously you're doing your heading.
Friday night double headers. What do we do them for? What's the point? We've got a game starting at 7:30, another game starting at 8:40. If you are the second game, you're not finishing watching TV until like 11 o'clock on a Friday night. If you've got kids who play for the teams who was Freo and North, they're probably in bed by then. So can we just pick a Thursday and a Friday? Or put the game on the Saturday, or put another game on the Sunday. Don't do the double head Friday night because one, it's shit. That's it. That is the headline. Double header Friday night. It's just shit. That's it.
Yep, fair enough. Can I throw another scheduling one in there? I know we've got to be quick here because we're cutting loose on time here. We've gone very, very deep with our conversations tonight. But so, I don't understand why teams cannot play each other in the first 17 rounds.
I'll just go 1 for 1.
Just why can't? So here's an example. Melbourne played Carlton for the first and only time in round 21. So there's going to be teams that they've played twice, yet you don't play one until the end. It shouldn't be. It should be you get your 17 and then you do your bits and pieces after that. Yeah. I don't understand why not. Because you're still going to get your 11 games eventually. So why does it, like, you know who the top up teams are going to be, slot them at the back end. You've got my suggestion, J-Dog, I've told you about this. You group them up. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one, is it?
It's not bad. Maybe the AFL knew something this year that Carlton were going to be a top a top 8 team, Peps. Maybe
So
maybe
what?
maybe it's AFL versus WWF.
Oh, shut up. That just pissed me off when I heard that. It's just so, we played Brisbane twice in 7 weeks, and there'll be clubs getting into double ups already, and we're only eight rounds in. That's just how absurd the fixture is. So I don't understand why you do that. Just put all 17 games. It can't be that hard to do. They're updating the fixture. Just leave it. Alrighty, big man. Let's talk about the rising star for round 8. Over to you, big man. Who we got?
Sure. This week, Heath Chapman has won the AFL Rising Star nomination for round 8. The 20-year-old arrived at Fremantle via pick 14 in the 2020 NAB draft after impressing for West Perth after he capped the Colt side, winning their best and fairest. He's a 193-centimetre defender, and his ability to lock down on the opposition's key forward whilst also displaying his intercepting prowess, sort of like a better version of Lear. The youngster exhibited his elite aerobic capacity as he ran the fastest 2K time trial at the 2020 WA Draft Combine testing.
And you know what they call him as well?
What?
He's a sweet like a sugar-coated candy man.
He comes out of fullback and he dances. He sees his opposition. He sells a bit of.
He's a sweet like a sugar-coated candy man.
He's the candy man. Exactly
Yes.
right. Geez. Eston supporters, we're all in agreement Nick Martin will win the Rising Star. Well, maybe. I think there's another bloke who's playing at Geelong who's going pretty good as well, De Koning.
Yeah.
About 60s at the moment on the Sports Bet. Gamble responsibly. Be interesting. Going to be interesting. But yeah, good on you, young fella. You're now in the running to see who's going to take out the Rising Star. We'll keep tuned with that one as well too. Rightio. Couple of things. Don't worry about splashing cash because we've already done that. No, not much news to come out of that. What about question of the week from last week, J-Dog? Have you got any feedback on that?
I didn't do it last week. Maybe Peps, I just couldn't think of one. So this week I have got one though.
Yep.
And I actually loved it, Pep, because you've sort of given this a bit of a razz up here, and I'm sort of loving this because you said last week that you don't rate Tom Lynch.
I still don't rate Tom Lynch.
You don't rate Tom Lynch at all. You told me we'd rather have...
I don't rate Tom Lynch.
Well, the question this week to my listeners, because he is leading the Coleman by 3 at the moment, the question is, Peps, for my listeners out there, would you have Tom Lynch in your team? Peps is a hard no, but would you have Tom Lynch in your team right now? The 7-goal kicking, 5-goal kicking last week, 6-goal kicking the week before. Would you have Tom Lynch in your team? Peps is a no, but I want to hear your thoughts.
I am J-Dog on this.
There's no cash here. Here, there's no cash. All right? Cash, no. Robbo?
No Tom Lynch. No Tom Lynch.
That's the question this week. That's my question this week.
Yep. So the clubs that need a forward, Essendon, will take him in a heartbeat. Clubs that have him, I don't want him. So it'll be an interesting one. Listen to the question. Do you want Tom Lynch in your team? Jump on the Facebook page and give us your vote because that'll be an interesting one. All righty. 1 week at a time, J-Dog. Game you're looking forward to this week before we wrap things up and finish the final siren?
This week, I think I'm dead keen. I like the Essendon Sydney game. That actually is going to be interesting. Sydney being just clinging into the top 8 at the moment. Essendon, I want to see if they can back that up. That's pretty good.
Exactly. This is what I mentioned, mate. Beep, beep, beep. Can they back it up? Man with a trailer. Can they back it up?
Cats and Saints, once again. Saints have got a really tough 5 weeks that we're coming up to. And at the moment, they've failed their test. They failed against Port. They failed against you guys. Geelong. It doesn't get any easier. This is going to be a good...
They go all right at Marvel. It's a nice fast deck for them. So I hope so. That'd be interesting if St Kilda win that one.
But Peps, really, like, your game is going to be the worst game of the round. I'm so sorry. It just is.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Melbourne versus West Coast, 5:20 p.m. Kids need an early night. That's going to put them to sleep early.
So for me, I'm going to go Hawks and Richmond, St Kilda and Cats.
If there is an upset alert, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, if there is an upset alert, it's going to happen at Sunday 1:40 p.m. Gold Coast Suns versus Fremantle at Metricom. That's a long flight for the Fremantle boys. And Gold Coast will be flying after what they did last week. That would be if they say that teams are due. Okay. Hey, Andy, put $20. Just give me the $20. Just give me the $20. Donate that $20 to charity. Don't give it to the bookies. I know you want to put $20 on West Coast. Silly talk. Silly talk. No, I'm looking forward to that one. Collingwood Western Bulldogs will be interesting. Friday night. I reckon that'll be an interesting one. It's at Marvel too.
What can they bring after the loss? What can Western Bulldogs bring to the table this week?
Maybe some Lamingtons? Or some, maybe some iced Vovos. They need to bring something.
They do.
I think it's going to be tough for them. They just need to bring speed. Billy Idol said it. Speed is what they need. What lightning? All right. Rightio. Wait, hey, J-Dog, is that it? Is that? I think the whistle's gone. That's the end of the show. What a cracker!
It is.
So, couple of things. Remember, last week we did give away our football jersey. We did give it to the winner. Like I said, if you didn't get to hear your name, I'm going to read it out again. It's Kai Aramanansenko. Yes, it's an easy one. You won yourself a brand new AFL football jumper, courtesy of Lace Out, because that's how you want your footy. More importantly, we'll be back this week with Tipped Out. I'll be probably going solo. J-Dog sends his tips through. He was pretty average last week, and so was I. So I'm hoping to get a better result this week. More importantly, get on the Facebook page, give us a review, give us a like. You know, you write it, we'll read it. It's as simple as that. And you know what? I've been telling you to do this for weeks, and you haven't. So I'm laying down the challenge. I want you to listen to the podcast. But then I want you to share this podcast with one friend. Just one. Just one. Share this podcast with one person. And then on the Facebook page, tell us who you shared it with. Who did you share it with? Because I want to hear it. I want to hear more people getting their football from us. The J-Dog, the Pet Meister, Lace Out style. So that's it. That's it. Cracking week, J-Dog. Hopefully your team wins, everybody. But more importantly, the question that we love to ask every single week is simple. Is Jamie the J-Dog Wallis superstar ranked number 9 for triathlon for his age group many moons ago? Big fella, how do you watch it?
I'm going to lace out, Peps.
And so do I. Have a great week, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on the chat. Hopefully your team wins. And if they don't, I don't know. Watch Melbourne.
See you, listeners.